A preface to this book of our Lord from the prophet Hosea. True worship had all but disappeared from the northern 10-tribe kingdom of Israel. Under the rulership of Jeroboam II, there is material prosperity in Israel, but that wanes soon after his death. What follows is a period of unrest and political instability. 4 of the 6 succeeding kings are assassinated. 2 Kings 14:29, 15, 8:30, 17:1, 6. The 59-year-long prophetic career of Hosea, which began in 804 BC, stretches into this time of turmoil. The Lord's sentiments toward the wayward nation of Israel are vividly portrayed by what takes place in Hosea's marriage. An exposé of Israel's error and the prophetic judgments against her and the kingdom of Judah are the subjects of Hosea's message. Using wording that is tender and sensitive and language that is forceful and expressive, Hosea has written all of this in a book bearing his name. This is the word of Jehovah that came to Hosea the son of Beeri during the reigns of Uzziah, Jotam, Achaz, and Yechizkiah, kings of Yehudah, and during the reign of Jeroboam the son of Joash, king of Israel. Jehovah's opening words in speaking to Hosea were to instruct Hosea. Chapter 1. Go, marry a harlot, and have children with this trollop, for the land is engaged in flagrant whoring away from Jehovah. So he went and married Gomer, the daughter of Divlaim, and she conceived and bore him a son. Jehovah said to him, Call him Yisrael, because in only a short time I will punish the house of Jehu for having shed blood at Yisrael. I will put an end to the kingdom of the house of Israel. When that day comes, I will break the bow of Israel in the Yisrael valley. She conceived again and bore a daughter. Jehovah said to him, Name her Lo-Ruhamah, unpitied, for I will no longer have pity on the house of Israel. By no means will I forgive them, but I will pity the house of Yehudah. I will save them not by bow, sword, battle, horses, or cavalry, but by Jehovah their God. After weaning Lo-Ruhamah, she conceived and bore a son. Jehovah said, Name him Lo-Ami, not my people, because you're not my people, and I will not be your God. Chapter 2. Nevertheless, the people of Israel will number as many as the grains of sand by the sea, which cannot be measured or counted, so that the time will come when, instead of being told, You are not my people, it will be said to them, You are the children of the living God. Then the people of Yehudah and the people of Israel will be gathered together. They will appoint for themselves one leader, and they will go up out of the land, for that will be a great day, the day of Yisrael. Say to your brothers, Ami, my people, and to your sisters, Ruhamah, pitied. Rebuke your mother, rebuke her, for she isn't my wife, and I'm not her husband. She must remove her whoring from her face and her adulteries from between her breasts. Otherwise I will strip her naked and place her as she was the day she was born. Make her like a desert, place her like a dry land, and kill her with thirst. I will have no pity on her children, for they are children of whoring. Their mother prostituted herself. She who conceived them behaved shamelessly. She said, I will pursue my lovers who give me my food and water, wool, flax, olive oil, and wine. Therefore I will block her way with thorns and put up a hedge so she can't find her paths. She will pursue her lovers but not catch them. She will seek them but won't find them. Then she will say, I will go and return to my first husband, because things were better for me then than they are now. For she doesn't know it was I who gave her the grain, the wine, and the oil, I who increased her silver and gold, which they used for Baal. So I will take back my grain at harvest time and my wine in its season. I will snatch away my wool and flax, given to cover her naked body. Now I will uncover her shame while her lovers watch, and no one will save her from me. I will end her happiness, her festivals, Rosh Hodesh and Shabbats, and all her designated times. I will ravage her vines and fig trees, of which she says, These are my wages that my lovers have given me. But I will turn them into a forest, and wild animals will eat them. I will punish her for offering incense on the feast days of the Baalim, when she decked herself with her earrings and jewels, pursuing her lovers and forgetting me, says Jehovah. But now I am going to woo her. I will bring her out to the desert, and I will speak to her heart. I will give her her vineyards from there and the Achor Valley as a gateway to hope. She will respond there as she did when young, as she did when she came up from Egypt. On that day, says Jehovah, you will call me Ishi, my husband. You will no longer call me Baali, my master, for I will remove the names of the Baalim from her mouth. They will never again be mentioned by name. When that day comes, I will make a covenant for them with the wild animals, the birds in the air, and the creeping things of the earth. I will break bow and sword, sweep battle from the land, and make them lie down securely. I will betroth you to me forever. Yes, I will betroth you to me in righteousness, in justice, in grace, and in compassion. I will betroth you to me in faithfulness, and you will know Jehovah. When that day comes, I will answer, says Jehovah. I will answer the sky, and it will answer the earth. The earth will answer the corn, wine, and oil, and they will answer Yisrael. God will sow. I will sow her for me in the land. I will have pity on Lo Ruchama, unpitied. I will say to Lo Ami, not my people, you are my people. And they will say, you are my God. Chapter 3. Jehovah said to me, go once more and show love to this wife of yours, who has been loved by her boyfriend, to this adulteress, just as Jehovah loves the people of Israel, even though they turn to other gods and love the raisin cakes offered to them. So I bought her back for myself with 15 pieces of silver and 8 bushels of barley. Then I told her, you are to remain in seclusion for a long time and be mine. You are not to be a prostitute, and you are not to be with any other man. And I won't come in to lay with you either. For the people of Israel are going to be in seclusion for a long time without a king, prince, sacrifice, standing stone, ritual vest, or household gods. Afterwards the people of Israel will repent and seek Jehovah their God and David their king. They will come trembling to Jehovah and his goodness in the Acharit Hayamim, end of days. Chapter 4. Hear the word of Jehovah, people of Israel. For Jehovah has a grievance against the inhabitants of the land. There is no truth, no faithful love or knowledge of God in the land, only swearing and lying, killing and stealing and committing adultery. They break all bounds with one blood crime following another. Therefore the land mourns, and everyone living there languishes. Wild animals, too, and the birds in the air, even the fish in the sea are removed. But no one should quarrel or rebuke, because your people are having to quarrel with the Cohen. Therefore you will stumble by day, and the prophet will stumble with you at night. I will destroy your mother. My people are destroyed for want of knowledge. Because you rejected knowledge, I will also reject you as Cohen for me. Because you forgot the Torah of your God, I will also forget your children. The more they increased in number, the more they sinned against me. I will change their glory into shame. They feed on the sin of my people and are greedy for their crimes. But the Cohen will fare no better than the people. I will punish him for his ways and pay him back for his deeds. They will eat but not have enough and consort with whores but have no children, because they stopped listening to Jehovah. Whoring and wine, both old and new, take away my people's wits. My people consult their piece of wood. Their diviner's wand speaks to them, for the spirit of whoring makes them err. They go off whoring, deserting their God. They sacrifice on the mountain peaks and offer incense on the hills under oaks, poplars, and pistachio trees, because they give good shade. Therefore your daughters behave like whores, and your daughters-in-law commit adultery. I won't punish your daughters when they act like whores, or your daughters-in-law when they commit adultery, because the men are themselves going off with whores and sacrificing with prostitutes. Yes, a people without understanding will come to ruin. If you, Israel, prostitute yourself, still Yehudah has no need to incur such guilt. Don't go to Gilgal or up to Beit Aven, and don't swear, as Jehovah lives. For Israel is stubborn as a stubborn cow. Will Jehovah now feed them like a lamb in a big pasture? Ephraim is joined to idols. Let him alone. When they finish carousing, they start their whoring. Their rulers deeply love dishonor. The wind will carry them off in its wings, and their sacrifices bring them nothing but shame. Chapter 5. Hear this, Kohanim. Pay attention, house of Israel. Listen, house of the king, for judgment is coming to you. You have become a snare for Mitzpah and a net spread on Tabor. The rebels have deepened their slaughter, and I am rejected by all of them. I know Ephraim. Israel is not hidden from me. For now, Ephraim, you are a whore. Israel is defiled. Their deeds will not allow them to return to their God, for the spirit of whoring is in them, and they don't know Jehovah. Israel's arrogance will testify in his face. Israel and Ephraim will stumble in their crimes. Yehudah, too, will stumble with them. With their flocks and herds they will go in search of Jehovah. But they won't find him. He has withdrawn from them. They have betrayed Jehovah by fathering foreign children. Now within the month the invaders will devour their lands. Blow the shofar in Givah, a trumpet at Ramah. Sound an alarm at Beit Aven. Behind you, Binyamin. Ephraim will be laid waste when the day for punishment comes. I am announcing to the tribes of Israel what will surely happen. The leaders of Yehudah are like men who move boundary stones. I will pour my fury out upon them like water. Ephraim is oppressed, crushed by the judgment, because he deliberately sought out futility. Therefore I am like a moth to Ephraim, and like rottenness to the house of Yehudah. When Ephraim saw his sickness, and Yehudah his wound, Ephraim went to Asher and sent envoys to a warring king. But he can't heal you or cure your wound. For to Ephraim I will be like a lion, and like a young lion to the house of Yehudah. I will tear them up and go away. I will carry them off, and no one will rescue. I will go and return to my place, till they admit their guilt and search for me, seeking me eagerly in their distress. Chapter 6. Come, let us return to Jehovah, for he has torn, and he will heal us. He has struck, and he will bind our wounds. After 2 days he will revive us. On the 3rd day he will raise us up, and we will live in his presence. Let us strive to know Jehovah. That he will come is as certain as morning. He will come to us like the rain, like the spring rains that water the earth. Ephraim, what should I do to you? Yehudah, what should I do to you? For your faithful love is like a morning cloud, like dew that disappears quickly. This is why I have cut them to pieces by the prophets, slaughtered them with the words from my mouth. The judgment on you shines out like light, for what I desire is mercy, not sacrifices, knowledge of God more than burnt offerings. But they, just like men, have broken the covenant. They have been faithless in dealing with me. Gilad is a city of criminals, covered with bloody footprints. Just as bands of robbers wait to ambush someone, so does a gang of Kohanim. They commit murder on the road to Shechem. Their conduct is an outrage. In the house of Israel, I have seen a horrible thing. Whoring is found there in Ephraim. Israel is defiled. For you too, Yehudah, a harvest will come. Chapter 7. When I restore the fortunes of my people, when I am ready to heal Israel, the crimes of Ephraim confront me, along with the wickedness of Shomron. For they keep practicing deceit. Thieves break in, bands of robbers raid outside. They never say to themselves that I remember all their evil. Now their own deeds surround them. They are right in front of me. They make the king glad with their wickedness, and the leaders with their lies. They are all adulterers, like an oven heated by the baker, who doesn't stoke the fire from kneading time till the dough has risen. On their king's special day, the leaders inflame him with wine, and he joins hands with scorners, who ready themselves like an oven while they wait for their chance. Their baker sleeps through the night. Then in the morning it bursts into flame. They are all as hot as an oven, and they devour their judges. All their kings have fallen. Not one of them calls out to me. Ephraim mixes himself with the peoples. Ephraim has become a half-baked cake. Foreigners have eaten up his strength, but he doesn't know it. Yes, gray hairs appear on him here and there, but he doesn't know it. The pride of Israel testifies in his face. But in spite of all this, they haven't returned to Jehovah their God or sought him. Ephraim behaves like a silly, foolish dove, going to Egypt, then to Asher for help. Even as they go, I will spread my net over them. I will bring them down like birds from the sky. I will discipline them, as their assembly was told. Woe to them, for they have strayed from me. Destruction to them, for they have wronged me. Am I supposed to redeem them when they have spoken lies against me? They have not cried out to me from their hearts, even though they wail on their beds. They assemble themselves for grain and wine, yet turn away from me. It was I who trained and strengthened their arms, yet they plot evil against me. They return, but not upward. They are like an unreliable bow. Their leaders will die by the sword because of their angry talk. They will become a laughing stock in the land of Egypt. Chapter 8. Put the shofar to your lips. Like a vulture, he swoops down on the house of Jehovah, because they have violated my covenant and sinned intentionally against my Torah. Will they cry out to me? We are Israel, God, we know you. Israel has thrown away what is good. The enemy will pursue him. They make kings, but without my authority. They appoint leaders, but without my knowledge. With their silver and gold they make themselves idols, but these can lead only to their own destruction. Your calf, Shomron, has been thrown away. My fury burns against them. How long will it be until they are able to make themselves clean? Here is what Israel produces. A craftsman makes something. It's a non-god. The calf of Shomron will be broken to pieces. For they sow the wind, so they will reap the whirlwind. The standing grain has no ears, so it will yield no flour. And if it does yield any, foreigners will swallow it up. Israel is swallowed up. Now they are among the Goyim like a vessel nobody wants. For they have gone up to Asher. Like a wild donkey alone by itself, Ephraim has bargained for lovers. But even if they bargain among the Goyim, now I will round them up. Soon they will start to feel the burden of these kings and leaders. For Ephraim keeps building altars for sin. Yes, altars are sinful for him. I write him so many things from my Torah, yet he considers them foreign. They offer me sacrifices of flesh and eat them, but Jehovah does not accept them. Now he will recall their crimes and punish their sins. They will return to Egypt. For Israel forgot his maker and built palaces, and Yehudah made more fortified cities. But I will send fire on his cities, and it will consume their strongholds. Chapter 9. Don't rejoice, Israel. Don't enjoy yourselves as other peoples do. For you have gone whoring away from your God. You love being hired as a whore on every grain floor. Threshing floor and wine press won't feed them, and new wine will disappoint her. They won't remain in the land of Jehovah. Instead, Ephraim will return to Egypt, and they will eat unclean food in Asher. They will not pour out wine offerings to Jehovah. They will not be pleasing to him. Their sacrifices will be for them like mourners' food. Everyone eating it will be polluted. For their food will be merely to satisfy their appetite. It will not come into the house of Jehovah. What will you do at a designated time, on a day which is a festival for Jehovah? For suppose they escape the destruction. Egypt will round them up. Memphis will bury them. And their precious treasures of silver. Nettles will possess them. Thorns will be in their tents. The days of punishment have come. The days of retribution are here, and Israel knows it. Yet they cry, "The prophet is a fool. The man of the Spirit has gone crazy." Because your iniquity is so great, the hostility against you is great. The watchman of Ephraim is with my God, but a prophet has a fowler's snare set on all his paths, and hostility even in the house of his God. They have deeply corrupted themselves, as in the days of Giv'ah. He will remember their guilt, and he will punish their sins. When I found Israel, it was like finding grapes in the desert. When I saw your ancestors, it was like seeing a fig tree's first figs in its first season. But as soon as they came to Baal-Por, they dedicated themselves to something shameful. They became as loathsome as the thing they loved. The glory of Ephraim will fly away like a bird. No birth, no pregnancy, no conception. Even if they raise their children, I will destroy them till none is left. And woe to them when I leave them too. Ephraim, as I see it, is like Zor, planted in a pleasant place. But Ephraim will bring out his children to the slaughterer. Jehovah, give them. What will you give? Give them wombs that miscarry and dried-up breasts. All their wickedness was already there in Gilgal. That's where I came to hate them. Because of the wickedness of their deeds, I will expel them from my house. I will love them no more. All of their leaders are rebels. Ephraim has been struck down. Their root has been dried up. They will bear no fruit. Even if they do give birth, I will kill their cherished offspring. My God will cast them aside because they wouldn't listen to him, and they will become wanderers among the Goyim. Chapter 10. Israel was a luxuriant vine, freely putting forth fruit. As his fruit increased, he increased his altars. As his land got better, he improved his standing stones. Their heart is divided. Now they will bear their guilt. He will break down their altars and destroy their standing stones. For now they will say, "We have no king, because we didn't fear Jehovah. And what could a king do for us, anyway?" They mouth words, swearing falsely, making treaties. Thus judgment spreads like poisonous weeds in the furrows of a field. The inhabitants of Shomron are frightened of the calf gods of Beit Aven. Its people mourn over it. Its priests tremble over it, over its glory, which has left it. It will be carried to Asher as a present for a warring king. Ephraim will be put to shame, and Israel be ashamed of his own advice. Shomron's king will perish like foam on the surface of the water. Destruction will come to the high places of Aven, that is, to the sin of Israel. Thorns and thistles will grow over their altars, and they will say to the mountains, "Cover us," and to the hills, "Fall on us." Since the days of Gibeah you have sinned, Israel. There they took their stand. For these arrogant people at Gibeah, war was insufficient punishment. When I wish to, I will discipline them, and the peoples will be gathered against them to discipline them for their two crimes. Ephraim is a well-taught cow. It loves to tread the grain, and I have spared her fair neck. But I will put Ephraim in harness. Yehudah will have to plow. Yaakov will harrow his own land. If you sow righteousness for yourselves, you will reap according to grace. Break up unused ground for yourselves, because it is time to seek Jehovah, till he comes and rains down righteousness upon you. You have plowed wickedness, reaped iniquity, and eaten the fruit of lies. Because you trusted in your own way, in your large numbers of warriors, turmoil will erupt among your peoples, and all your fortresses will be destroyed. Just as Shalman destroyed Beit Arbel on the day of battle, when mothers were dashed to pieces right along with their children. Thus will be done to you, Bethel, because of your great wickedness. At dawn the king of Israel will be completely cut off. Chapter 11. When Israel was a child, I loved him, and out of Egypt I called my son. But the more the prophets called them, the farther they went from them. They sacrificed to the Baalim and offered incense to idols. Yet it was I who taught Ephraim to walk. I took them by their arms. But they did not know that it was I who was healing them, who was guiding them on through human means with reins made of love. With them, I was like someone removing the yoke from their jaws, and I bent down to feed them. He will not return to the land of Egypt, but Asher will be his king because they refuse to repent. The sword will fall on his cities, destroying the bars of his gates because they follow their own advice. My people are hanging in suspense about returning to me, and though they call them upwards, nobody makes a move. Ephraim, how can I give you up, or surrender you, Israel? How could I treat you like Admah, or make you like Tzvoim? My heart recoils at the idea, as compassion warms within me. I will not give vent to the fierceness of my rage. I will not return to destroy Ephraim, for I am God, not a human being, the Holy One among you, so I will not come in fury. They will go after Jehovah, who will roar like a lion, for he will roar, and the children will come trembling from the west. They will tremble like a bird as they come from Egypt, like a dove as they come from the land of Asher. And I will resettle them in their own houses, says Jehovah. Chapter 12. Ephraim surrounds me with lies, and the house of Israel with deceit. Yehudah still rules with God and is faithful with holy ones. Ephraim is chasing the wind, pursuing the wind from the east. All day he piles up lies and desolation. They make a covenant with Asher, while sending olive oil to Egypt. Jehovah also has a grievance against Yehudah. He will punish Yaakov according to his ways and pay him back for his misdeeds. In the womb he took his brother by the heel. In the strength of his manhood he fought with God. Yes, he fought with an angel and won. He wept and pleaded with him. Then at Beit El he found him, and there he would later speak with us. Yahovah Elohei Tzvaot, Lord of hosts. Yahovah is his name. So you return to your God, hold fast to grace and justice, and always put your hope in your God. A huckster keeps false scales, and he loves to cheat. Ephraim says, I have gotten so rich, I have made me a fortune, and in all my profits no one will find anything wrong or sinful. But I am Jehovah your God, from the land of Egypt. Again I will make you live in tents, as in the days of the established festival. I have spoken to the prophets. It was I who gave vision after vision. Through the prophets I gave examples to show what it would all be like. Is Gilad given to iniquity? Yes, they have become worthless. In Gilgal they sacrifice to bulls. Therefore their altars are like piles of stones in a plowed field. Yaakov fled to the land of Aram. There Israel slaved to win a wife. For a wife he tended sheep. By a prophet Jehovah brought Israel up from Egypt, and by a prophet he was protected. Ephraim has given bitter provocation, so the penalty for his bloodshed will be thrown down on him, and his Lord will repay him for his insult. Chapter 13. When Ephraim spoke, there was trembling. He was a power in Israel. But when he incurred guilt through Baal, he died. So now they keep adding sin to sin, casting images from their silver. Idols they invent for themselves, all of them the work of craftsmen. Sacrifice to them, they say. Men give kisses to calves. Therefore they will be like a morning cloud, like the dew that disappears early, like chaff blown by wind from the threshing floor, or like smoke that goes out the window. Still, I am Jehovah your God from the land of Egypt, and you don't know any God but me, or, other than me, any Savior. I knew you in the desert, in a land of terrible drought. When they were fed, they were satisfied. When satisfied, they became proud. Therefore they forgot me. So now I have become like a lion to them. Like a leopard I will lurk by the road. I will meet them like a bear, whose cubs have been taken away. I will tear their hearts from their bodies. I will devour them there like a lion, like a wild animal ripping them up. It is your destruction, Israel, although your help is in me. So now where is your king to save you in all your cities? Where are your judges of whom you said, give me a king and leaders? I gave you a king in my anger, and in my fury I took him away. Ephraim's guilt has been wrapped up. His sin is stored away. The pain of being born will come to him, but he is an unwise son. The time has come, and he shouldn't delay there at the mouth of the womb. Should I ransom them from the power of Sheol? Should I redeem them from death? Where are your plagues, death? Where is your destruction, Sheol? My eyes are closed to compassion. For though he flourishes among the reeds, an east wind will come, a wind from Jehovah, blowing up from the desert. Then his water source will dry up. Then his spring will fail. It will plunder his treasury, removing every precious thing. Chapter 14. Shomron will bear her guilt, for she has rebelled against her God. They will fall by the sword. Their little ones will be dashed to pieces, and their pregnant women ripped open. Return, Israel, to Jehovah your God, for your guilt has made you stumble. Take words with you, and return to Jehovah. Say to him, forgive all guilt, and accept what is good. We will pay instead of bulls the offerings of our lips. Asher will not save us. We will not ride on horses, and we will no longer call what we made with our hands our gods, for it is only in you that the fatherless can find mercy. I will heal their disloyalty, I will love them freely, for my anger has turned from him. I will be like dew to Israel. He will blossom like a lily and strike roots like the Lebanon. His branches will spread out, his beauty be like an olive tree, and his fragrance like the Lebanon. Again they will live in his shade and raise grain. They will blossom like a vine, and its aroma will be like the wine of the Lebanon. Ephraim will say, what have I to do any more with idols? And I answer and affirm him, I am like a fresh green cypress tree, your fruitfulness comes from me. Let the wise understand these things, and let the discerning know them. For the ways of Jehovah are straight, and the righteous walk in them, but in them sinners stumble. This concludes our reading of Hosea. Until next time, my friend, God be with you.